Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Marianne's Mystic Mentions. I'm Marianne. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. Today I'm actually doing the collective reading. So it's for all signs, all inclusive, and it is for the week of today, which is Monday, Monday, May 19th through the 25th, which will be Sunday. And what a week it is. So I just welcome all of you, and of course all of you are welcome. I love sharing messages from the heart, from my intuition, and from the guidance that I always ask for and receive. Sometimes through downloads and psychic, hits that I get, and kind of random. I never really know when, but I definitely share them when that occurs in real time. So, yes, it's great to be here. I missed 2 of the collective readings because I was away, and then the week before that, I actually had a test I had to do. So it's great to be back. I had an amazing time, and tomorrow starts the sun season of Gemini, which is a beautiful air sign, super intelligent, very, very versatile, mutable sign. And it would have been my mother's 95th birthday tomorrow, actually. So happy early birthday, Mom. And so this is, like I said, for all signs. We cover a fair amount that I wouldn't normally cover now with the monthly readings. If you have not had a chance to see your monthly May readings, please do check that out. I would greatly appreciate that. And then also, I'm about to start the June, so they will be out hopefully by June 1st. And if not, I always try to complete them by the first couple of days. I do have a full-time job. I'm a massage therapist, Reiki master practitioner. And this is just what I love. This is like an appendage, I mean, our spirits are definitely always with us and always connected. So I love to speak. Number one, I am an air sign. I have 4 planets in Libra. So moving forward again with the week and the fact that we are starting up with the beautiful Gemini season, you might find whether you have air placements in your natal chart or your tropical whole house sign chart, which is another variation on being able to figure out where certain energies from the planets and the stars and the moon and so forth activate and affect you personally. So what I always do is I always start with a chakra check. Now the chakras are also extremely about our energy. They are located in our body along the spine, starting from the base of our body, the actual sacral, and then moving itself up all the way up through the crown and up to the 8th chakra, they say, which is the omnipotent, all present, one consciousness, collective. So that's appropriate for the collective readings as well. So we're going to start with that. And basically, I just shuffle it behind my back. The last one looks like it was the heart chakra from the May readings, but I'll show you that. And I very simply put this behind my back as I speak a little bit more and just shuffle it around and see which particular chakra spirit is wanting you to focus on for this week. It was very interesting. There were at least, I want to say over half of the readings that I did in May. The main chakra for the month was the third eye, and then also the crown, which is definitely about our psychic ability. I'm wearing purple, the color energy that resides in connection with the chakras. They are color-coded, so, for better memory and to associate. And then also just this beautiful energy that comes from everything in our lives and from color. I love purple. It's always resonated with me. I love amethyst. I surround myself with the crystal of amethyst as often as possible. It is such a healing and strong, beautiful, helpful way to level up on our psychic abilities and our intuition and protection and all that beautiful stuff. So, well, there you go. Here you go again. We've got the purple. Thank you, Spirit. And this represents, as I mentioned, the 8th chakra. This is the all collective, all omnipotent, beautiful energy that keeps us together. We are all definitely connected. And so I will read to you what this beautiful saying for the 8th chakra says, because sometimes if you feel There is a disconnect. You feel that separation, which of course I have so many times. And then I talk to myself and I sit quietly and I say, wait a minute, there can never actually be a disconnect. You know, like the symbol yin yang, you know, the white and dark, there's always light, there's always dark, there's always whatever, up is down. You know, it's just this constant balance and equilibrium. One cannot be without the other. So spirit is all inclusive everywhere and connects all of us. I'll read to you what I like to call the mantra is, so that you can say this sometimes if you're not feeling, like I said, maybe that connection you'd like. It just helps to open that area. All that my soul has ever been and will become rests gently in this moment. My soul-filled power is here now. I love feeling that. I love hearing that. I hope that resonated with each and every one of you, because it's so true. I mean, it's really, for me, it's always been a task to stay present every moment, right? Because there's so many things we think about and our mind is constantly going, and there's past, there's present, things done, things we have no idea about, you know, that we fixate on, right? And as an air sign, for heaven's sakes, that's one of the main traits. And that's what you'll be feeling this week, and then going through the season of Gemini, as I mentioned. You'll want to connect more. You'll want to speak out more. Maybe start a YouTube channel. Something having to do with anything, you know, technical is very much connected as a Mercury-ruled sign that Gemini is. You know, the mind is constantly moving. It's the fastest planet. It's about our speech and our learning and our capability of learning and expanding and growing and sharing. And what's the other words I want to say that is very important right now is networking. Very, very big time for networking. All the planets except for Pluto that went retrograde, a week or more ago, all direct. And it'll stay that way through, just the middle of July, when we start to go in the shadow period. It might even start then, I apologize, of the next Mercury retrograde. But we're not talking about that now, because this is forward movement, new ideas, new opportunities. My goodness, what transformations are happening this year. The planets alone have changed in ways they never have in a lifetime, certainly not our lifetime. So it's exciting, and, you know, change is important. And you can just sit and just think about, if not for yourself, all the people around you that you've recognized this with. So in addition to the message and the mantra, I will be correlating the appropriate crystal. And what's interesting is, forgive me, I had something in my mouth. What's interesting is that I don't actually have, with this little deck that I got in this beautiful gift set that comes with all the crystals that I wear and infuse the reading with, it doesn't have the 8th chakra. But I do like to use the amethyst because it's the closest thing, and it does represent, you know, our intuition and our psychic ability and our knowledge and the downloads we get. Insight, dreams, and intuition are the words associated, and that's also the third eye. Amethyst, I am connected to my inner knowing, which strengthens, my healing abilities and insights. And let me just say as a side note, there's been so much mention of healing that's coming about this year. We are in a 9 year, so I do include numerology, and it's basic. Everything I do, I like to do basic so that it hopefully makes sense, whether you've heard it a million times or this is your first time, to hopefully educate you and kind of help you to understand, you know, some of the laws and principles of the universe that affect each and every one of us. So I will definitely get the amethyst out. I have one in my pocket. I always carry crystals. It's essential for me as a therapist working with energy every day, although today's my day off. And I say that lightly because it's one of the busiest days of my week. So I've got a big schedule that happens, but I like to take the time to do this reading and to kind of give you some heads up. In addition to adding this crystal to the reading, I will be doing a 6-card spread, which is what I've been doing. I think it makes sense. It is the past, present, and future with a clarification on each. But today I'm going to actually finish with 2 oracle messages as well, because one was a beautiful oracle deck that I got for Mother's Day. So for all you mothers out there, I hope it was an extraordinarily happy Mother's Day, because for me, that's probably the absolute most important role that I play in this life. And it's brought me great rewards and satisfaction on so many levels. And now this year, I in fact get to be a grandmother come September to my grandson. So my heart is full in all the right possible ways with the things that matter the most to me. So I'm getting this in here. Like I said, this will infuse the reading, and Spirit will always help me with even more intuition that may come through, and I will share with you in addition to the messages of the cards. So the first deck I'm going to use, I brought out a few times. You may or may not have seen it, but it is known as the Queen's Tarot deck. And in addition to what, I'm sorry, I'm having the hardest time with this. I don't know why. There we go. In addition to what I had mentioned to you, I love this because it's black and white, and it's very conducive to the yin and yang, like I spoke of. I'll give one example astrologically, of course. In addition to many other changes that are occurring this year, the very important ones I will mention, number one, are the North Node and South Node having changed from North Node Aries, South Node Libra, that occurred and changed January of 2025. And now it is North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. Now, there are always going to be the polar oppositions that are working together in these eclipses. The eclipses are happening every 6 months, and for about 18 months, they keep the same sign, and then they change signs. So every eclipse, and we had the eclipse season end with the last Aries eclipse for about 8 or 9 years now, and that happened on March 29th, and then we also had the full moon, which was in Virgo. So the first eclipse of 2025, Virgo, and this is big. It's huge. It affects all Virgos. It affects definitely all Earth signs, which is what Virgo is, which would be Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. Now, there's another huge change happening. Aries, well, Aries has a lot of emphasis for all of us for the next few years and over. I personally love that. I have an Aries moon, but more importantly, I've loved Aries my whole life. And I know when you're meeting an Aries, if you've met, and I'm sure everybody watching at some point has met Aries, there are two types. My father was an Aries. He was a quiet one, but he was an Aries nonetheless. And the traits and the aspects I'll mention are basically of being the number one sign in the zodiac. They are a cardinal sign, which means that they are doers, movers, innovators. They usher in a specific season. And so along with Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, in astrology, the new year actually starts in the season of Aries, which is March. And then they, like I said, usher in spring. So it's new, it's fresh. They're number one. They're like a child. They stay youthful most of their lives. They have that energy of fire and passion and, maybe doing before they speak and, before they think, and just like impulsive, kind of like, I could do that. And they do. They make it happen. They're strong. They're leaders. They love it. They're caring, great, wonderful people, but they're also just like, what you see is what you get a lot of times. I admire and love that deeply. Not for everybody, but I'm rooting and love that aspect. That innocence, if you will. And truth. The truth is very important. So the black and white, as I said, let me just bring it up here and make absolutely sure I'm saying the right name. It is normally it's right on the box. That's funny. It's probably just on the inside. Yeah. The Many Queens Tarot. Now the queens versus the king in a tarot deck are the more feminine duality, because we all have masculine and feminine within ourselves. There's always the balance of having that work and keeping that balance, which is when I think we all feel our best on many levels. But sometimes it's not always balanced. And there are things that are going to be more masculine, which would be the part of our outside world, or the ways that we have to be responsible and, in control, if you will. The queens being the more intuitive, more internalizing of things. The moon is a very feminine example, you know, and there's emotions that come along with that. Not that masculines don't have, the masculine side of us does not have emotion, but sometimes it's not as intuitive. We'll just simplify it. But I love this deck. The illustrations are unbelievable. And so we're going to do, like I said, this 6-card spread. And we'll start right now. And as I said, I will also do a clarification for both, or all of them. So I'll lay them out. They have been shuffled. I always like to bless my cards and ask for clear and concise messages for the highest good of everybody watching. And so I'll lay them here. I'll express what I believe the meanings are saying. And then also, as I said, if something comes through, I'll definitely let you know. I love the outside too with the eyes. You know, everybody's watching, right? Especially now. I don't think anybody can do anything without it being recorded or something. It's a way different world than when I was growing up. But exciting. I love change. I do. I appreciate it. And sometimes you need to appreciate it because it's going to happen regardless, right? So best to take it in stride and be as accepting as possible. The recent past for everybody watching this beautiful collective reading, and I thank you for watching. It means a lot to me. Do like and subscribe if you do like and want to support this channel, because I'm telling you, that's the best thing you can do. It's free. It's very, very, very important, but it's also a great way to show me your love. Okay, so for you, you have to start the Knight of Pentacles. And this is, like I said, the recent past. It could be as recent as last night. Anything that was just before this reading started. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is the card that represents a messenger. The Knights are very regal and it's very important that they get their work done. You know, they're reliable and loyal. And the Knight of Pentacles, which is an earth element, pentacles are coins, is the slowest of all knights. We had an incredibly important new moon, was it? New moon? Let me just go over this in my mind. We had the full, no, I'm incorrect. What I will tell you though is that we are finishing Taurus season. So as of tomorrow, as I said many times now, we will be going into Gemini. We are in the last day of Taurus season. Taurus is a pentacle. Taurus is known as the money sign. Taurus is also ruled by Venus. So Taurus represents the earthly things, the sensuality, the, you know, digging our hands in the dirt and planting and creating and, you know, all the senses are used. There's stability, there's practicality, there's perseverance, there's just all the reliable traits that you can imagine on this earthly plane, and things that are super important to all Tauruses that represent tangibility, things that they can feel, touches. They're not so much of like, oh, well, if I believe it, I'll see it, and that sort of thought process. Not that they can't be, and they're extremely intuitive. So I believe that's the Venus part of them as well. However, they just prefer things to be just kind of as a fixed sign, just like, I want to see it, I want to feel it, I want to touch it. I'm going to work hard, I'm going to show up every day, and then I'm going to know why I'm getting the money I'm getting. I mean, everything is somewhat methodical in some ways, but let me tell you, I've met many Tauruses that are extremely resourceful and have great knowledge and end up being in those careers where they can help others to, you know, best use their money and you know, all the wonderful things in that regard. So yes, we are just finishing Taurus, so this is very appropriate. And this being the slowest moving one is true. However, this night represents longevity. Okay, there isn't anything a Taurus does where they're not looking at the big picture and like, okay, but if I do this and I add this many months and this, and I'm going to achieve this and I'm going to get that for it. And, you know, it's all planned and very organized and reliable. You know, nothing like that, right? I love being around earth signs. I have one earth sign. You can check and see what your chart represents, but that's what keeps us grounded. And a lot of times I ask to please ground me. I will go into my garden. I will go into nature when I'm feeling like everything is just whirling around me, and I'm thinking way too much as an air sign. So I love that. I love that it feels like there's messages regarding your stability, your sustenance that's come through. You're feeling good about it. It may not be happening this moment, but there's definitely indications that things are starting to move and change. And my goodness, I guess I got sidetracked like I always do. But the one very, very potent, powerful thing that's happening in May is that we had Neptune, the planet of dreams and creativity and imagination, and sometimes nebulous, like not even really sure if it's real or if it's a dream and that sort of thing. It's changed from the sign of Pisces last month. I believe it was last month. I'm a little confused and I apologize, but the point is that it changed from Pisces to Aries, and then Saturn will change into Aries as well on the 24th, 25th, depending on where you're located. Now, Neptune and Aries, and I should say Neptune and Saturn, tend to move together as planets. They're outer planets. Neptune is all, anything goes. I can imagine the best and the most, and it'll happen, and dreaming and manifesting. Saturn, the complete opposition of restructuring and structure and restriction and, time factors, and age has to do with it, and your bones and things that you want to be careful about, because as you get older you have to be aware of that. You don't want to fall, and there's things of that nature that are associated with Saturn. But Saturn does get a bad rap, because Saturn's like, oh, but they're so grouchy and they're so like they take things away. They don't actually take anything away. They actually just help you in your life to stay on track. It's a good generally 2.5 to 3 year run. Neptune's 14 years. So it's in Aries right now. It'll go out back into Pisces at the end of the year and back into Aries on the 14th of February. Neptune will stay in Aries for 14 years. Then we have Saturn that'll be in, I guess it said something like April of 2027. So you'll have both worlds. And with Aries, it's this robust kind of, I'm going to make these dreams come true by hook or by crook. Nothing will stop me. It may not happen immediately, and it won't necessarily. You may have to revise your plans, your structures and things of that nature, but only for the best possible outcome. Please remember that when I'm speaking of any planet, because none is negative and none is positive. Some have a benevolent title to them or a malevolent. Malevolent? That's a mouthful. Anyway, I like this for you because you're getting messages about something that's very important to you in the earthly plane. Now, to clarify that, we've got the Knight of Cups, which I absolutely love because, once again, North Node Pisces, which is a water sign, is one of the most mutable, loving, compassionate, selfless, sacrificing, incredibly psychic and intuitive and creative, and it's just so beautiful. And this is going to be our North Node, the direction we want to go in. So the world, regardless of all the things and the challenges that come, and they always come, that's part of our life for us to work through, and we do, right? Just keep working through those and know that, my gosh, I feel stronger, I learned so much, or okay, thank you for all those lessons. I love and appreciate them. Now I want to learn about this. You can put out any of those intentions at any time. But this is so beautiful because the Knight of Cups represents our heart and our emotions and our creativity. And so when you combine the earthly energy, of the Taurus and the Knight of Pentacles with this beautiful water, which is a great, beautiful combination. Earth and water are very, very compatible. You have the best of both worlds to achieve and to manifest the life that you choose. And love is always going to be in the picture. Now, I didn't say it, but I do want to say now that I would like very much, instead of the collective, perhaps by June, if things are working the way I would like them to, and they will, I'd like to go back to a series that I started 5 years ago, and I was on YouTube and absolutely loving it. And then it seems as though when I had to stop due to a health issue that I've overcome, that I look back and I see that it took off a little bit better than I had anticipated because I wasn't checking. And it's all about love, and it's a love series, I call it. But it's not just about romantic love. It's about all forms of love. And as a Libra, I am in love with love. I truly, truly am. I've always been drawn to relationships, people, how we communicate, how we get along, the psyche, children, animals, everything. I do have a Pisces rising, perhaps that's intertwined with that. And everything matters to me, and there's love of all forms. So my love series readings will be about romantic love and, your special significant other, but also family love and once again, love of animals, love of yourself, love of your job, love of your partnerships at work, and so forth. And what I do is I will pick and start with the main featured sign, which will start with Aries and with Pisces. And I start with this little chart and I roll the dice. And Aries will have every single one of the other zodiac sign compatibility read to them. There'll be about 20 plus minutes, not much longer. I've studied it since I was 12 and I knew what I was because my boyfriend had given me a poster saying, this is Libra, this is what you are, and it has a little saying underneath, and I've been smitten ever since. So I hope you will, watch and enjoy that, because when I finish with Aries, I then go to Taurus, and it'll be a long series, so you'll have to check and see. And I'll do it right in front of you to know that day. If I roll the same astrology sign, the next reading that I do for Aries, for example, then I'll just re-roll until I'm able to get all of the sign compatibility so that it will fit any and all of you, I hope. So moving on with the reading, then we have the present, the beautiful present, the power of the present, as in said in the eighth chakra. And you have the Seven of Swords. Wow, this has come up more than I would have ever dreamed. And I would like to tell you I have a whole new lease on life about this, because generally in the Rider-Waite-Smith, it shows, as you see, 5 swords in this person's hand and 2 that are left behind, equaling 7. Now, it's broad daylight in the Rider-Waite-Smith. There's a beautiful yellow background, yellow, once again, color, vibrancy, energy. That's the solar plexus. That's our strength and our courage. It's a beautiful, positive color, and every chakra is a positive. But this one in particular shows us just how strong we truly are. So in past, this can represent deceptiveness and, stealing and just backstabbing, all these things you don't want to hear about. I certainly don't. And yet they do occur in life. And then there's a whole new take I have on this, which is exactly what the card represents. It's you seeing things in a different way. You figuring out times that have been a little difficult in your life and thinking, I don't want to go that route anymore. I want to try this strategy. Strategy is a good word for this card. It's a strategic card. It's one that shows you in broad daylight, you can do this differently. You can make a difference. You can change your trajectory. You can change your thoughts. And you can manifest exactly what you want. And all the while, making sure you're not kidding yourself. You're not fooling yourself. You're not depriving yourself. All the things that the, less than positive qualities have to do. It's not always about the outside world. It's going within. Okay, so there's that to consider. And that's what's happening for so many people, myself included. And then the clarification of this is the Nine of Cups. Well, the Nine of Cups is 1 short of 10. And the Nine of Cups is known as the fulfillment card. Okay, so you have these dreams, you have these desires, you have these incredible imaginative, prospects and possibilities and opportunities that just keep coming in. They may come in your dreams. Water element is very psychic and very intuitive. Cancer in particular, they are ruled by the moon. So there's this very notable, energy with water where they can just really feel and sense, and they're very, very sometimes moody and sensitive because they take on a lot. They feel everything. The air signs, we think about everything. Okay, so checking things out, doing things differently is going to lead to this, and it may have taken you a few times to figure it out, but that's okay. We do it until we understand, and it's never everybody has a different plan and a different, what am I trying to say? A different path. And I love knowing that, because when I've been hurt and I've lost people I love dearly, and it just didn't make sense, I thought, well, wait a minute. Somebody said once that was their path, and it just kind of, it doesn't fully, erase any hurt for the time being, but it does make me think and see things from a different perspective. That's also a very huge part of the Piscean energy, because the card for Pisces, there's usually 2 cards in tarot for each sign, but the Hangman is the one that represents Pisces, and seeing things from a different perspective, but not bothered by it, just like, oh, okay, cool. I love that. I personally love that. I love seeing things that I never saw before and feeling completely different, like a whole new part of me has been lit up. And then you have the future. And for you, oh my gosh, there's a lot of court cards. This is amazing. You've got 3 knights. The Knight of Wands, of course, the fiery, ambitious. We have Mars, the planet of warrior planet that's hot and fiery and, spirit and everything, in the sign of Leo. Leo's social. Leo's exuberant. Leo's the actor of the zodiac, right? They are ruled by the sun. There's power, there's strength, there's the gold, there's the yellow, there's vibrancy and fun and joy. It's going to be, the holidays. It'll be summer before we know it. And that's when we go out and we have fun, and we let go of our cares and woes. And I just got back, like I said, and I had to have a day to recoup because it was so much fun. And then, going back to your normal life, you're like, it always makes me sad in a lot of ways, because I think, oh, wouldn't that be great if that were like that all the time? But of course, intellectually, I know that if it were like that all the time, it would never be as special. So I am getting emotional about that. But great times can be had by all. And we can start with believing that and just allowing that to happen for ourselves. So the Knight of Wands is here to represent something with work, some kind of new idea, something very innovative, something energetic, something spirited and, and lively and fun. And remembering that all the fire signs are, of course, the Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So yeah, I'm loving this reading a lot for the collective, and we all can benefit in some way. And I hope that you do, and you resonate with this, even if you're not necessarily this moment. See what happens throughout the week. And then to clarify this Knight of Wands, you have the 6, what is this? The 9 of Pentacles. Wow. 2 9s, 9 of Cups and 9 of Pentacles. This is the freedom, independent card. 1 away from the 10 of Pentacles. 10 is the absolute. It's the new cycle. It's starting over. It's even if things were not great, you always have a chance to start over. And there's so much of that fresh energy happening right now for all of us. And fun. A lot of predominance in the planets, and they're moving into different signs, and even the moon signs and the retrogrades are predominantly air and fire, and they're very compatible. Like I mentioned, earth and water elements are. So if you haven't, most of the time people have at least 1 planet in something. You can check that out for free. I highly recommend you do, because we have so many layers to us, as opposed to just our sun sign, which is a very important aspect. But this is fantastic. This is showing that you deserve what you've done, and you've done it a lot of times on your own. Yes, you have help. Yes, you may ask for help once in a while. This doesn't designate that. It's like you're just this entrepreneur, like, I'm going to make things happen. I'm going to hold myself responsible, and I will share, and I will do the things that I think are appropriate, and I care a great deal for people in life. But I just feel really good knowing that I worked hard and I got my hands dirty sometimes, and I love reaping the benefits. I love abundance in all forms, and that's what the 9 of Pentacles can provide and what you've accomplished. So I absolutely love that. Let me do as I mentioned, and I will go on to the 2 oracles. The first one I love so much because I've had it a long, long time. It's called the Wisdom of the Heart, or excuse me, Psychic Tarot for the Heart. And I'm going to keep the booklet out because this particular deck is so multifaceted. It represents the major arcana. It represents every single element, as I mentioned, cups and water, air and swords, earth and what am I trying to say? Earth and pentacles or coins. And what did I leave out? Wands, fire. So it has that. And then lastly, the best thing too is it has all the chakras. So depending on what card we get, and I'm going to pick two for everybody, this beautiful collective reading from, like I said, today the 19th through the 25th. Starting and ending Taurus season today, starting air season tomorrow. I will tell you more about the fact that we have the new moon in Gemini next week, because that'll be on the 26th, 27th, depending on where you're located. This one fell out. So the black exterior lets me know as I look at the card, because the index will tell me so. Oh, I love this. And it's got that yellow. It's got that confidence we talked about. The Seven of Swords and the different way and objectives of how you go about strategically making your life work. Because some things hadn't worked. Well, you're going to make it a change. You're going to take what hasn't worked. You're going to appreciate that you learned. And you're going to do it a different way now. You're done with the battles. You're done with trying to figure out why people do what they do and so forth. But you're going to make it. You're going to make it work and be extremely confident and happy about it. So let me just go here quickly to the index again. And it says, where is that? Okay. So for the outer black rim, that speaks of the major arcana. And you have listen. And listen represents, what does listen represent? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let me just, okay, I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to, in my mind, remember, and it's a little difficult right now. But first, let me show you. It's number 2. So for the major arcana, it's a word that associates with the, once again, the major arcana in general. 0 represents the Fool, and in this, it's calling it. So I haven't memorized, obviously I have, but in my mind right now, I don't know what's happening. So I will just go with this. 0 would normally be the Fool, and that's under this category, it's trust. Then we have the Magician. We have all the tools we need on our path in the tarot, and it's a manifest. So then the next one coming up is listen. And I want to say that's the Empress. And let me double check for you if I may, because I feel pretty strongly about this. I'm going to use this. It's not the Rider-Waite, but it's comparable. And so I'm going to find, if you'll bear with me, the Empress card and see if I'm correct about that, because I feel like I am. It is the 3, and it represents growth, and but this is 2. So I want to say the Lovers, but I don't know. Right now I'm just confusing the matter, so don't let me do that. The Lovers is 6, so I'm incorrect about that. So I won't say another word, but rather watch and just let you know. I'm loving the way it says listen, because I mentioned to you about the introspection. That's very, very important for us right now. And just that different way to perceive things. And so that's, yeah, the Empress is 3. So 2, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. We'll do this if you have the patience, and I appreciate this. And by the way, once again, if you are liking this and you feel a resonance with me, which would be fabulous, you know, for those that are coming back, thank you for supporting me. It's so important to me, and it's the only way that I can ever really grow this channel is if you support me by liking or subscribing, of course, and it's free, and it's not like I'm trying to push you into it, but I will tell you that when I get to 500 subscribers, I'm like 60 away from that or something, I will be able to start getting monetized, and this is really important for an aging woman like myself. It's the love. No, it's the 2 of Cups. Interesting. Well, wait, let me just go on one more. Let me just put that aside, because it does have to do with partnerships, but I don't believe that's it. It's a major arcana. So I'm kind of going through this, and I appreciate your patience. I really do. But it's important to me that I find this and then know it for future readings. Because I never really took the time to, I knew that it had a lot to do with all the different aspects of the deck, this particular deck. And it is an oracle. Oracle is absolute. oracles absolutely have to do with just the divinity aspect of life, where they really want to send us messages and guide us and support us and so forth. So we're almost all the way through the deck. And I haven't seen the two major arcana yet, but I will. I certainly will. And there's the Nine of Pentacles. Isn't that gorgeous? Which I pulled for you right here. And yeah, there's just a lot of notable Seven of Swords you have. You know, just this very notable recognition that you're really wanting to fine-tune things. You're getting messages from people. It's what you choose to take in that'll make all the difference in the world. No one can force you. This is all under free will. And I never, ever want you to think otherwise. These are suggestions and possibilities. And so, well, we're almost done. My goodness. I'm going to be shocked when I see it, I know, and I'll probably think of it just beforehand, but it hasn't happened yet. So anyway, point in case, it has to do with listening. And, you know, a lot of times I find that I want to listen. I believe I'm listening, but I actually have asked more than ever, please let me not only hear the messages from Spirit, but let me please be the best listener, because it's usually the most quiet, silent whispers that can come through, and they're just so, so important for us in the guidance that comes. So here we are, almost at the end, and I've yet to find it, but if it's the last one, that'd be quite remarkable. And I am going to do this, though, because when I do something, I never give up. We've got the Star. What is 2, though? What is 2? We've got the Tower. We've got 9. We've got Son of a Gun. That's the Minor Arcana. Looking for the Major. Looking for the Major, too. What do we got? What do we got? Dear Spirit, help me. I love gloves. I love wearing these, and I love what they represent, but they are a little tighter too. A little tougher to get through the cards. Almost there, though. Almost there. And the thing is I don't really edit. You're going to be like, oh no, Marianne. What do you mean you don't edit? I don't see it in here, everybody. This is completely crazy. Listen. I am so sorry. I don't know why I'm not finding it, but that's an omen in itself. And the reality is that, like I said, it's about listening. It says clearly on it, listen. Listen to the guidance that's coming, and you will be receiving guidance. And then this too, maybe it's listening to the person that you love, you know, and really taking in what they're saying. They have something really important to speak to you about. But as a major arcana, I'm so sorry, I'm not finding that. So nevertheless, we will continue on, because that's the main objective and one of the more important messages that are going to be something you will be shown this week. And then I want to show you my brand new deck that I got, and I just absolutely love it. And it has to do with cats, which, you know, I'm an absolute cat lover. My beautiful Eclipse is right over there. He's sleeping now, but he brings in such beautiful energy to this room and to the readings. And I have had him for 5 years, on June 17th when he was adopted. So it's already going so very quickly. But the next deck that I got, that I want to share with you, which is somewhere down here. Having a hard time today with all these different aspects of everything. Oh, here it is. It's underneath the chakra cards. It is called the Cat Oracle. And this represents the different types of cats. It has a message for everybody, okay? Look at this beautiful box. The pictures are amazing. It covers different aspects because of the colors that it has. So I'll read from the book as well. But once again, thank you for your patience. I I know that you can definitely comment for me and say, Marianne, the 2 in the major arcana is blah, 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 which I certainly should know, but it's completely escaping me right now. So it's not the Empress, though. We know that. All right, so I'm going to do a little shuffle here. They're gorgeous cards. They have a beautiful feel to them. I've gotten a couple now with this kind of, almost like almost cardboard, to be honest, but very firm. And like I said, when I was away and I got these, I would pull one every day for everybody I was with. And it was very interesting how accurate it was for the mood and the feel. And you know, animals and cats in particular, they're very much about their feeling and their sensitivity. They smell beyond our capacity and they just have such incredible intuition and things. So the oracle for today, for this week, you loving, patient viewers, is Cat Lady. Whoa, look at this. I never pulled this during the times that I was reading. Isn't that gorgeous? Gosh, that's pretty. The words associated are care, unconditional love, and abundance. Well, I mean, that's what animals do. They have all of that. And then as an owner, we just can't give enough love, right? It's just so much, it just grows and grows. So I'll read to you a little bit more about that before saying goodbye. And just know that things are amazing. They're getting better and better, and it's been challenging for a lot of people in a lot of ways. There's been a lot of change, and that in itself, it's like you don't want to see people go, but they do, and you don't necessarily want to change your life. I know I have to be retiring in a couple of years. It's a real process for me. So, but it's all so beautiful, you know. So the Cat Lady, I was looking for the blue. See if it's under the purple. I'm not seeing that. Here we go again. All right, so Cat Lady, let's see here. Let's see what we got. This is crazy. And see if I can find it, because the thing is that it's not showing this color in the book. And usually it's under the, maybe it's its own card. Let me pull a second one. You guys are probably thinking I'm crazy right now, but that's okay. It says what it needs to say, and all of us can definitely partake in that beautiful aspect. That's the unconditional love. You know, it represents 2, it represents partnerships. And Gemini actually is the twin, so that's kind of an interesting concept too. But let me just do a second pull here. Apparently it's the only blue one. Thank you, Spirit. And the second one will be, and is, interesting too, because it's almost the color of the chakra, but it's really like the throat and being able to express ourselves as well. And we have the purple. Pause. Softness, sensitivity, wayfinding. Yes, that's what all of us are capable of. It's a gorgeous, beautiful picture. Using your hands or somehow is going to be very, very important. You know, it is a way to express ourselves from our soul. As a massage therapist or anything you may do that has to do with your hands is always very, very important for expressing in creativity. But I have the actual pause here under the proper letter, and it says, this is actually under cat behavior category. Softness, sensitivity, wayfinding. No one hears the cat come tiptoeing in. We only know they were there by the telltale trail of prints. Their velvety paws with squishy toe beans and gentle tufts of fur give the most tender touch. Walk in another's footprints until you find your own path. Ooh, wow. So there's another reference to others, and you know, and just having this beautiful capacity to be compassionate for those that are different or unlike us, and seeing things in a different perspective comes back yet again. But I love this for you. I hope you enjoyed this reading and the very lengthy time it took for me to try to find a couple of the cards, but nevertheless, patience is a virtue, and I give you a lot of credit for that. Take great care of yourself. Do come back for the June readings. Until then, bye for now.